Sisters and brothers, I am grateful to you for giving me this opportunity to address the nation as Prime Minister. Rashtrapati ji invited me to form the government since the Bharatiya Janata Party and its allies won the largest number of seats. This decision of Rashtrapati ji is entirely in tune with established democratic norms. In fact, it strengthens them. I have accepted this responsibility in all humility, that I believe is the will of the people, the essence of the electoral mandate of 1996. I am dismayed, and I am sure that most of you share this sentiment that this decision has been unfairly criticized by some groups. Those that have undergone many splits have come together only to fragment, who have formed conflicting combinations but failed to win more seats than the BJP, are now prepared to join hands without any hesitation, even with those whom they opposed in the polls with great vigor. This can only be termed as politics without any principles, motivated by the sole aim of coming to power by any means. During the last week, we have not heard them say even a word about what they would do for you or for the country. They seem to have a single point agenda: stop the Bharatiya Janata Party at any cost. To achieve this, a determined campaign has been launched to paint us in adverse colors. This has only one purpose: to defeat the mandate given by the people. Instead of entering into a debate on communalism or the true meaning of secularism, a determined effort is being made to obscure issues, to avoid an honest and meaningful debate. India is an ancient civilization. It has always had different sects and religious practices. We do not limit ourselves to one God or one prophet or a single book. We are a multi-religious country, and we believe in the equality of all religious faiths. It is because of this that we have never had any tension, leave alone a violent struggle on the correct path to achieve a realization of God. Sarva Pantha Samabhav, or equal respect to all faiths, is part of our civilizational consciousness. Secularism thus is integrated into our lives. India never was and never will be a theocratic state. My government is committed to creating an environment of social harmony and peace. What happened in Ayodhya on 6th December 1992 was not the result of any pre-planned conspiracy. If problems related with religion are not resolved for long periods of time, then the result is what happened at Ayodhya. Every society has two methods of solving Ayodhya-like disputes: by discussions and dialogues, or through legislation. In the case of Ayodhya, neither of these two approaches was pursued seriously. The dispute was before the courts for decades and remains there. It is hardly necessary to recall that immediately after the advent of Islam in West Asia, the first mosque was built in Kerala, then ruled by a Hindu Raja. In like manner, soon after the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, the first church was established in India. These manifestations of different faiths are living symbols of our secular traditions. We will maintain these traditions. 11 successive general elections and scores of them to state assemblies have clearly demonstrated that we are a mature democracy, an enlightened nation. It is necessary that we do not allow irrelevant issues to cloud our national vision and to shroud the real issues. What are they? Before the electorate was the question of development, of elimination of corruption, transparency, and accountability in all spheres of government. In short, good governance. they remain entirely relevant today. The primary challenge before us is the upliftment of the poor. Despite possessing adequate natural resources, the majority of our countrymen remain poor. They are deprived of opportunity and all avenues of growth. I know their conditions. I have lived it. Immediately after the 1996-97 budget, my government is committed to announcing and implementing a revolutionary 10-year plan focused on providing nutrition for the children to the poor, their health care and facilities for education so that they are brought at the same level as other children. In the first year itself, we would mobilize adequate resources for this, along with rationalization and simplification of the tax structure and our revenue regime. We would take steps for their strictest compliance. My government would ensure that funds allocated for the upliftment of the poor actually reach them so that we are able to achieve our goal of economic and social equality within the next decade. You are, of course, aware that there are certain prerequisites for achieving such major plans. These are political will, honest administration, and determination to spend money for the purposes for which it is allocated. As a first concrete step towards bringing about honesty in the administration from top to the bottom, my government will make public the income and assets of all members of my cabinet within 30 days from today. We will not hesitate to take the sternest measures to see that corruption is eradicated from public life, that there is no misuse of funds allocated for development schemes, that they are utilized with care and diligence. Creation of productive and sustainable employment, especially in the rural area, is the most important facet of poverty eradication. My government pledges to allocate 60% of planned funds for agriculture and rural development. Towards that end, we will soon begin the process of identifying 5 crore poorest of the poor families for immediate relief. In addition to this, we will protect the needy sections of society, especially in the tribal areas, by better targeting of the public distribution system and ensuring price stability. My government will give primacy to enacting, in cooperation with other political parties, legislation to secure 33% reservation for women in state assemblies and in the Lok Sabha. My government will not misuse Article 356 of the Constitution to achieve political ends. Immediate steps will be taken to restore the balance of resources in favor of the states. Steps will also be taken very speedily to convene and activate the Interstate Council to settle interstate and center-state disputes. My government will very quickly assess deficiencies in the physical infrastructure, especially those that are hampering the growth of the economy and of exports. Towards this end, we will form a committee of economic ministers under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister to implement several stalled projects in a time-bound manner. All such projects will be cleared speedily for implementation. The new government is committed to quick enactment of comprehensive electoral reforms, keeping in mind the Goswami Committee report as well as the recent judgment of the Supreme Court. This government will proactively pursue a foreign policy based on peace, equality, and cooperation. Our immediate goal is to improve our relations with all our neighbors, including Pakistan. My government will not relent in its efforts to establish peace in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Elections will be held on schedule. The territorial integrity of our country will be preserved and protected at all costs. I salute the dedication, sense of duty, and the valor of our jawans and officers of our armed forces, our soldiers, sailors, airmen, our scientific community that helps in our national endeavor are the true sentinels of India. I am committed to upholding their honor, dignity, and welfare. My government will very quickly introduce administrative reforms to simplify procedures so that in those departments which interact frequently with the public, there is no scope for arbitrariness and discretion. We have already begun identifying areas where simplification of rules and regulations will deliver just and prompt response to the common people. Directions will be issued to the civil service all along its chain to dispose of at the earliest matters relating to the day-to-day problems of the people. The power to say no to simple routine requirements of life will be reduced drastically. Scope for arbitrary conditionalities would be minimized. Many of the new things I have said tonight may not carry conviction because previous governments have had a dismal record in this regard. Some of them may even appear to be dreams in the light of the past record of unkept promises. Despite that, I pledge that we will carry out the assurances that we give today. Has not somebody said, if you do not dream, how will dreams come true? In one of my poems I have prayed, मेरे प्रभु मुझे इतनी ऊंचाई कभी मत देना, गैरों को गले न लगा सकूं, इतनी रुखाई कभी मत देना. That prayer is now a pledge. I conclude by leaving this pledge and this dream with you. Jai Hind.